A Jefferson County legislator is optimistic Horne's Ferry will be making trips to Wolfe Island, Ontario next year. Cape Vincent and Jefferson County officials met with Canadian officials this week to talk about the ongoing efforts to reopen Horne's Ferry. Right now, the biggest hurdle is reopening the port of entry on the Canadian side, a process that's going to take 4 to 6 months. Jefferson County lawmakers recently signed off on a survey which will show the economic impact and ridership of the ferry, which is a vital piece to reopening the port.
It's not only the Horne family legacy, the Cape Vincent legacy, but I'm going to say most people listening to this right now will have some legacy of their own, a story that they can tell.
The survey should be completed in the next couple of weeks.